Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And I just wanted to give you some personal opinions. I don't have a story for you in this particular video, but I wanted to give you a little bit of my personal commentary about some of the interviews that I've been seeing on Shannon Sharpe's club, Shay Shay. And he has opened up Pandora's box with his last two comedians. We all know that Katt Williams probably had the highest viewed viral interview of 2023. And Shannon Sharpe, Club Shay Shay, backed that up right afterwards with Monique, the female black comedian. And as you know, in my YouTube videos under the Trevor Donald Experience, I always talk about manifesting your truth. And Shannon has found himself a niche where he has turned into the Black Larry King on YouTube and social media. How he's able to get these individuals, these celebrities, comedians, to talk, relax, and speak their truth. And that's why I named my YouTube channel, my motto, as Manifesting Your Truth. I think the days have changed, just like technology has advanced us in such an open air kind of environment, and it's not so controlled where on YouTube or anybody that has a YouTube channel, you can interview anybody you want. They can almost say anything that they want and talk about, long as it's not too egregious and too crazy before you get demonetized. But these interviews that Katt Williams, I think he was speaking his truth. I did a video on him and that interview, and I think Monique is laying out all the foundational points for how there are cliques, there are gatekeepers out in Hollywood. And we know that that's been taking place since the 40s, 50s, 60s. We know there's a disparity in pay between white actors and actresses and black actors and actresses. But the big thing I think that Katt Williams and Monique illustrated was that they're black gatekeepers that are gatekeeping for the white upper echelon. So white folks don't have to do it as much anymore. The same thing took place in the music business with all these subsidiary black music labels, Bad Boy, Rough Riders, Murder Inc., Death Row. All were subsidiaries under Universal, Interscope, and some of these other major white labels. What they did was they allowed black entrepreneurs to take on the rap genre, and they had to deal with all of the trepidous, negative imagery, negative comments about rap music, and the big label kind of stayed in the dark and in the background unless there was a major lawsuit that took place. That was all by design. And in the entertainment business, is the same way. You don't necessarily have black subsidiary movie companies, but you have black actors that are making decisions behind closed doors to inhibit other black entertainers from advancing. And that's what Monique and Katt Williams were talking about. The Oprah Winfrey's of the world, the Tyler Perry's. And this is nothing new. Even back in the day, you had Dick Gregory, George Carlin, Lenny Bruce, Bill Hicks, Oscar Wilde, who would talk and speak about um, opening up Pandora's box to many of the indiscretions that take place throughout our country and our world. Dick Gregory, and people would call it shock humor when he was a comedian. And then as he got older, if you look at some of his old videos, I guess you would say it would be shock commentary. He was just speaking his truth. George Carlin, Lenny Bruce did the same thing. And then on the white side, you had people like Rush Limbaugh, who had a radio talk show. And he prognosticated about all kinds of topics to stay hot and to stay controversial. And then after that, you had Alex Jones, Howard Stern, who I would consider to be the preeminent person who kind of changed the landscape. If you all remember, Howard Stern had a cable show for a long time, and then he went to satellite radio a long time ago and took a large sum of money. He probably was the first person that understood that the transfer of regular controlled television was not for him as a shock jock. Cable loosened up the barriers a little bit, and then satellite radio even loosened it even more. And now you have YouTube, social media platforms, TikTok, where you can interview anybody you want. You can say the things that you want to say. And Monique was letting the cats out of the bag. Katt Williams did it. Dame Dash. And so I think in this particular time, and I think it's therapeutic for these people, to have to not walk around with all these secrets and these harbingers of why their careers are not taking off, and they are seeing it firsthand, the fakery, the bull crap that goes on, and how it looks and appears that people like Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey, even though they are black folks, does not mean that they're for other black folks to advance. But when Barack Obama was the president of the United States, I don't think there was much advancement for black folks, hardly at all. Kamala Harris, I don't think she is the perfect fit for a black female to be vice president. She's not saying anything. Barack Obama didn't do anything. If you look at all the divisiveness and the gun violence and the homicides that are taking place in Chicago, people fail to realize that 3 of your most popular black entertainers and politicians came right out of Chicago. They weren't from Chicago, but that's where they made their noise and garnered their fame. Oprah Winfrey, first black female billionaire. Michael Jordan with the Chicago Bulls, first black athlete to become a billionaire. And then, of course, our first black president, Barack Obama, from coming right out of Chicago, married his wife, who was from the south side of Chicago. But he was born and raised in Hawaii and went to a $46,000 boarding school in the 70s. He never gave me a feel that he could relate to the average black citizen suffering middle class, low middle class in America. He was above reproach. People forget that Barack Obama's African father went to Harvard grad school. People forget that Barack Obama's stepfather, who was Indonesian, was an executive, a high executive with Standard Oil, and made millions and is even considered a billionaire. Kamala Harris, the vice president now, her father, with his Marxist ideology, is a Stanford professor. Barack Obama is an attorney. He went to Columbia and Harvard Law School. Kamala Harris went to Howard, and then she went to Hastings, University of California, Berkeley's law school. Do you see the similarities? Barack Obama interracial. Kamala Harris, interracial. And I don't see them being very befitting for the average African American person that's trying to make it from day to day. So we have tons of people that look and appear black, but I don't see them reaching down a hand to help the rest of their black counterparts. And when I go back to Michael Jordan, Oprah Winfrey, and Barack Obama, how in the world is Chicago in such a decimated scenario of living, and you've never heard none of the three of them advocating putting their money where their mouth is? That's where they made all their fortune. Even Steve Harvey's talk show started in Chicago, and none of them have even given back to even provide any assistance for changing the social, economic, social cultural environment for the third or fourth largest city in America. And the heavy preponderance of black on black violence that is taking place, you would think that they would do they would go back and try to provide some assistance. It's not totally their fault. The United States government, the city of Chicago, the state of Illinois takes on most of the responsibility, along with the citizenry, where we all should be responsible and accountable for our actions. But it wouldn't be bad to have a little help from the individuals that have been able to garner millions and billions of dollars, millions and billions of fans and fame, to make all their money and do well in Chicago, and see how decimated and destitute it is, and not try to reach back, not only privately, but they should do it publicly. And I think that they have a large enough following and fan base that they could help change the moral and ethical narrative and code for what's taking place in Chicago. Whatever they would do, Barack Obama, Michael Jordan, Oprah Winfrey, Steve Harvey had his show there, if they reached back and tried to provide some positive assistance, I don't think that would be negative at all. But we have had changing dynamics before. I think the closest thing to entertainers, athletes, people that were popular to speak their voice was on the Larry King show. Of course, when you Johnny Carson and Letterman, it was kind of a jokey, and it was just 2 or 3 minutes. But I think Larry King is the closest thing from the past that you see in today's time, like a Shannon Sharp or Club Shay Shay, to do these interviews. And these famous people, or people in general, feel that they could speak their truth. And I think that with social media, with platforms like YouTube, I think we're not going to be living in Pandora's box or in darkness anymore. I think you're going to see a lot more people speaking and living their truth, and we're going to come out of darkness and start seeing a little light. And all of the backdoor deals that have been done, they call it blackballing, but I call it whiteballing, and the cliques, the exclusionary policies and clubs that you have in Hollywood, I think those are all going to go by the wayside. The egregious behavior that many of the male executives that have perpetrated sexual misconduct on women is going to the wayside with the Me Too movement. The people are getting exposed, these entertainers. I think you're seeing a climate where there's going to be very few things that are going to be kept in the closet. That door in that closet is opening 100% wide open, or open widely. And all of these bones and skeletons are going to fall right out of that closet. And I think that's what you're seeing with somebody. Monique talked about this issue of being whiteballed, blackballed. Well, she was blackballed, I think, because of Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey. The pay scale is different between black and white. And you're going to see more and more people talking about this. And YouTube has presented a wonderful platform to allow people to put their channels up and to expose a lot of things that have been kept in the dark for a long time. Podcasting. So I think podcasting and YouTubing and TikTok and Instagram, but primarily podcasting, Spotify, Amazon Music, um, YouTube channels where people can pontificate and extrapolate and articulate how they feel about the climate of America in so many different genres of uh, uh, jobs and careers. Uh, Things are getting fully exposed, and it's not eyes wide shut anymore. We're seeing a world where its eyes are wide open. Everything is at a push of a button. Uh, if you make a mistake, you can build your career over 30 years. Make one mistake and a push of a button, your career is gone in a blink of an eye or a second. So it's keeping everybody on their toes. But the things that Monique and Katt Williams have brought out is going to pressure other entertainers and other people in the business world uh, to speak their truth, to talk about how they feel. It's therapeutic. They don't have to keep it inside. And the general public and the listeners can figure out what's real, what's truthful from what's not truthful. But YouTube is giving a platform where all of this stuff that's in the dark is coming straight to the light. So I wanted to do a video about it and see what you all think. I think the narrative is completely changing, where backroom deals and being kept secret are no more. Casting couch interviews are no more. People are talking. People are wearing their emotions on their shoulders. People are exposing the things that are negative and are holding individuals back. And I think the more exposure, the more information you can gather, the more you can raise your level of consciousness, uh, the better off you will be on making sound decisions. Everybody's heard the rumors of Hollywood and how demonic and corrupt it can be, but now you're getting people that are giving you real truth serum and showing you that many of those stories, or most of those stories, are real. And there's been corruption and collusion out in Hollywood for decades. And whether it's the comedic world, the acting world, um, the sports world or an arena, um, all of this keeping things in the dark is no more. This technology and this internet has changed the entire landscape on how people are going to conduct doing business, and hopefully it will pressure individuals to do things the right way. Thank you for listening. This has been the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth.